Good afternoon, Woodstock Littles volunteers. I'm so excited to have an opportunity to chat with you for a few minutes. Thank you so much for clicking on the link and watching our videos. This is virtual training. We're trying something new this time. So we're going to have a virtual training as well as an introduction video to our newest little staff member, Katie Buckholtz. We are so excited to have her as part of our team, and you guys are going to fall in love with her just like we did. Again, thanks for watching our video, and don't forget to click the link below the video for a form that you guys can fill out. I think it's got 3 questions on it. Super easy questions. Answer those questions and you'll be entered into a drawing for one of 2 $50 gift cards for Amazon. Hope you guys have a great day, and again, thank you for all y'all do.
My name is Katie Buckholtz, and I'm excited to get to serve alongside you on Sunday mornings this year. And I'm going to be trying to fill Tish's shoes as a Sunday morning Littles 2 staff person. And I'm just excited to be there and get to serve with y'all. A little about me. I am married for almost 13 years to my husband, Mark. We have 3 kids, Ella Rose, Ava, and Isaiah. And they also were in the preschool a few years ago. My littlest is now 6 and in kindergarten. I taught school, 3rd grade and 1st grade, before I quit and stayed home with my kiddos. So I'm excited to be back and working with kids, which is my passion all along. We have been at First Baptist Woodstock since 2019 and have loved every part of it and all of the different serving opportunities. I was blessed to get to grow up in a Christian home. My dad was a college minister all growing up and still is. I asked Jesus into my heart when I was 7 years old, and I truly believe that is when he saved me. And so I have a passion for teaching our children about Jesus because I know they can understand it. I realize what an important job it is to teach our kids about Jesus and how much he loves them. And I'm excited to get to work alongside you and as we serve our children and as we teach them about Jesus and his love for us. Thanks, guys.
Good afternoon. Thanks, guys, so much for joining us as we come together as a Woodstock Littles team and share with you from our heart some of the things that we think are so important for Sunday mornings, Wednesday nights, child care events, when we are taking care of some of the most precious children in the entire world. We want to just share our heart with you guys and give you some thoughts on different topics. So Janice teaches with us on Sunday mornings, and she teaches in one of our pre-K classes, and she has got some amazing ideas for helping us to teach the Bible lesson to the kids and have them engaged.
Thanks, Tish. Well, I primarily have 4-year-olds on Sunday mornings, and I love that age group. And getting them involved usually it's very easy to do. I sit with them during our story time, our lesson time. A good part of it is I get to reinforce what they already learned in the theater. And they do a great job in theater because sometimes I'm in there with them in that hour. So I reinforce what they learned there. And hands-on. I don't just preach to them. I interact with them. So if we're learning about Ananias and Sapphira, I bring coins. And they get to take turns. You want to be Ananias, Sapphira, and here's the coins and that story. Look it up. If we're doing the Holy Spirit, we did when the Lord gives you the Holy Spirit, the power of the Holy Spirit. You bring in a flashlight, and it doesn't have the batteries in it when I bring it in, and so it has no power. But when I put the flashlights in, oh wow, the batteries in, it has power. Just simple things like that with a 4-year-old, just engaging that way. And repetition. We start the same way every day, every Sunday morning. When we're starting our Bible lesson, we talk about how the Word of God is so precious, and they know every word in that book is true. And they will shout that to you. Every word in that book is true. And we'll choose a random number, 25, let's say. And so they take my Bible, and each child gets to hold my Bible, and we count up to 25, and we get, if that's the number of the day, if Sammy's holding the Bible at 25, and he gets to bring it up to me and open it up to the correct scripture for that day. And they know that it's a precious book. That's another hands-on example. They might stand shoulder to shoulder in a line, and I will ask them questions. Do you like to eat strawberries? And they'll step forward if they do. Step back when we're done. Do you have on shoes that tie today? Step forward for yes, and then step back in your line. Does God love you? Step forward for yes, step back. Just simple ways to get them engaged, so it's not just me speaking to them, but us working together.
Yeah, I think like for my girls, when they come home from Sunday mornings, it's really cute to see like Selah and Eden playing, like they're at Sunday school, and they'll do things like, if you get a flashlight that day, Selah will say, Eden, look at this flashlight. You know, she'll use the same exact examples that were used like when Miss Janice was teaching the Bible lesson. So hands-on things, my girls love that. They love little catchy slogans to get your attention. They just, all those special touches really bring it home for them and have them during the week playing like they're at Sunday school and fresh on their mind, all of the stuff that they've learned on Sunday throughout the week. So I love those little things that you mentioned. Those are all great.
The special phrases, so we also start with, when we're talking about the Bible, we say we have to train our brain, so they know that we got to train our brain, and we want to get it here, and then we want to get it here. And we talk about how does that work. And so I'm holding my Bible. Can I eat it? Can I breathe it? Can I smell it? And they're all shouting at me, no, you have to read it, Miss Janice. So they know that. You have to read it.
That's awesome.
I love that. I love that. I love the interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And as you walk down the hall and you see you interacting with the kids, or any of our teachers interacting with the kids, that is so exciting to me, because you know when they're interacting with something, they're going to go home and repeat it to their sister, their sibling, their dog, their mom, or whoever. And I just think that's awesome that we're taking that and getting it into the homes.
And I love that you have the Bible and you're feeling it and seeing it and touching it, and you're showing how important it is.
Yes, and they know. And younger children would know too, but my 4-year-olds, they know that the Bible, there's something very special about that, and they'll let you know.
Well, and you've taught them
Yes,
that, you know,
yes.
you've taught them and instilled that in them, that this is special, the Bible is special, and everything in the Bible is true.
It's true.
And I love that, because they'll know that later on in their lives, that, you know, even if they don't think about it, they'll know that that Bible was true. And I love that aspect of it. So, anybody else have anything that they think? All right, Miss Amy, she's going to talk to us about classroom management, because we know that a classroom full of preschoolers can be exciting and challenging all at the same time.
Absolutely. One of the things that I think is the most important with classroom management is positive reinforcement. You especially have to catch them being good. If that works really well with that one challenging child that always ends up in your room. And it's important to catch that child when they're doing something good and praise them, and it reinforces that positive behavior. And if you're in a situation where some children are not doing especially what they should be doing, if you bring the other children's attention to the children who are behaving, amazingly they will, start to do what you want them to do, so they're noticed too. Another thing that's important is a routine. The children seem to thrive in structure. It could be in a classroom like we school, that they have the same routine every day, but also in like the child care situation, like on Wednesdays or Thursdays, we still have a routine that we do. And even though they're not there every day, they learn kind of what comes next to do. Along with the routine, I think it's important to plan for those transitions in the day. One thing that I've always done as a teacher, whether I was teaching 3rd grade or 2-year-olds, I prepare them for what's happening next. You know, if they're doing something fun, playing, I say, we've got 5 more minutes and then we're going to clean up, or 10 minutes and 5 minutes, and you know, it's almost time to clean up, just to kind of, you know, make them realize it's about to come to an end. One of the things along that line that I've always been told is to end the activity before it runs out. You know, before they've lost interest in it, to end it while they're still having fun. And as a teacher, sometimes that's hard to do because they are engaged in having fun. But you need to kind of wrap it up before they lose interest in the activity. Along with transitions is also balancing the passive and active activities. So it's important to, after an activity like playtime, to have an activity like story time, where they're up and moving around and then still. So it gives them that wiggle break to move during the day, and that they don't get too bored or too wiggly in the activity we're trying to do. We do that on Wednesdays, especially with like we have theater, and then we go to the playground. Then we come back in and have snacks. So it gives them an up, down,
Especially at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. And the last thing I wanted to say is you really have to love what you do. Children seem to model and emulate what you're doing, and if you're in there having fun and a good time, the children will do so also.
I mean, I love what you said. I picked up on the word bored, and in my mind, when children misbehave, a lot of times it's because they're bored, or we haven't directed them on how to fill the time, given them enough to do, and shown them how to fill up the time, so they're bored. Or they haven't gotten any positive attention, they're just looking for some type of attention. So I love the thought of all those things, active, passive, letting them know what's happening. Those things keep them from getting bored, because we all know if we as teachers do not fill up the time with activity, the children will fill up the time with activity, and it's not necessarily going to be the activity that we need to be happening in the classroom. So those are some great ideas. Thank you.
Well, and the bigger our classes get as we're growing, which is super exciting, but as we're growing, our classes are getting bigger, and it's so much more important to have more stuff planned than you can possibly get done, so that if you have some of those special friends that need some really lot of active things, that you know you've done that. And as a reminder, we have tons of things that you guys can use in your rooms, and we have Play-Doh. A lot of people don't like Play-Doh at home, but we love Play-Doh at church. And, you know, Play-Doh, cars, blocks, puzzles, all those things, color sheets. We have all that stuff, and if you ever need anything for your classroom, please let us know, because we want to help you, for you and the children to have the best time when they're in Sunday school or Wednesday nights or child care event, wherever they are. We want them to have the best experience, but we also want you guys to have the best experience as well. Taylor has babies. Tell us about having the babies, Taylor.
So babies, everyone comes to preschool to get their baby fix, right? And it is a very sweet, sweet time to get to spend with all of those babies. But they definitely have a certain level of responsibility, and there are challenges that come with them as well. And so one of the most influential pieces of childcare with littles, you know, the little babies, I think, is that drop-off interaction. And that's not just for the child's sake, but also for the parent's sake, because they're entrusting their most prized possessions with our care. And so it's a great responsibility, but also a sweet privilege too. So two of the things that I really like to focus on, especially with the littles, at that drop-off period, is energy and attentiveness. And so when I say energy, what I mean is every child, from the first child to the last child that gets dropped off, you're approaching that window or the door with high energy. And I don't mean crazy energy, but I mean a smile on your face, You're excited that they're there. You know, the parent really feels that connection, that you are ready to love on their child like they're your own. Hopefully that might help to ease some of the tension of the child. But just that energy and that welcoming spirit that we love you and we're so excited that you're here. And then attentiveness. I think that is huge, partially for the child, but especially as the parent. And it helps you as the child care worker or volunteer to be able to care for them in the best way possible, I think. But really giving as much attention. I know you probably have a lot going on in the room if we're halfway through drop off, but really taking the time and effort to give a lot of your attention to that moment. I think that it's very reassuring to a parent to see that eye connection with them, that you're really wanting to hear what they have to say, any concerns that they might have, any special needs that they might request for their child. And trust me, that's going to be really helpful for you throughout the childcare hour, if you're aware of those things too. And asking questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions, so that, you know, nobody knows that child better than their mom or their dad that are dropping them off. They spend a lot more time with them than we do. And so, is it normally their nap time? What time do they need to have the bottle? Do they like their bottle warm or chilled? I mean, there's different things that can make the hour a lot easier for you as the volunteer, for the child, but also just lets the parent know, listen, we're here to serve you and your families, and we want to do that to the best of our abilities. So really checking all of those boxes with each child, so that you're getting that information to best serve each individual child. And just remember that this might be the child's first time being away from their parent ever. Or again, that parent's first time dropping their child off and being separated from them. Or maybe not just in general, but in this environment where it's not a grandparent or an aunt or uncle that they're leaving their child with. And so there's some anxiety that comes from that, from the child and the parent. So just doing everything that we can and being mindful of that to reassure the parent and the child, just being very encouraging, very loving, and being very attentive to any needs that they might have, I think is, the best way to set everyone up for success.
So good. It is good. I think Taylor described it well, in that it's not just the child, it's the parents. It's both. And so consider the needs of both and be sensitive. If your child's screaming their head off and you're trying to drop them off, then the parent, I know my daughter would be bawling because when she's trying to drop her child off and they're screaming. So if I'm the volunteer at the window, I'm going to open the door. I'm going to be ready to receive when they're ready to give. Sometimes they need to hold them a little bit longer, and that's okay. But to reassure the parent that I got your phone number right here. If we have a problem, I will definitely reach out. And then if they give me some instructions, I jot it down, because I'm going to forget what they said. So jot down what they said if it's not written there on their diaper bag or something like that. If it's an older child, because sometimes a 2 or 3 or 4-year-old can be screaming their head off when they get dropped off. Open the door, reassure the parents, say, oh, Sally, I love your shoes. You have on Mickey Mouse shoes, or you have whatever. Just try to choose something that might engage the child and make them want to come in. Or if Johnny has a fire truck on his shirt, oh, I have some fire trucks in here. Come see these with me, some cool fire trucks. And then I think something else that's really important is when they come to pick the child up. I try to find something positive to say. Mine are older that I'm working with, with an infant. You say, oh, they were so sweet today. We enjoyed them, But an older child, and I'm not making things up, but, if the child was so sweet to their friend or apologetic when something happened, or they were so obedient today, parents really love to get some positive reinforcement. It's so easy to give them negative, and I don't do that. It's, they were not so great all day long, and I just don't say anything. Here's Johnny, okay. When they're, oh, Johnny was so good today, on the playground. He shared with his friends, so that's the other side of it.
I like what you said about that, because we can tend to think it's our job, somehow our responsibility, to tell parents their child misbehaved, and there's a fine line there. That's what our coordinators and staff are for on Sunday, to help you in that area. So let them know if you've got an issue. But sometimes a parent can dread coming through the door because they know I'm going to hear a negative statement. And they don't need that. Because every child has value, and every child has positives, and every child and adult and person has positives and negatives. And so that interaction at the door, that's the only moments we get with those parents. And I think they're vital. They're vital.
And a lot of times, that parent is not the only parent standing at the door.
Right.
Good
And
point. Good
so
Being
the only
sensitive.
thing you want to be saying are positive things. And like Jana said, if there's really nothing positive, then just, we're glad you were here.
Yes.
Can't wait to see you next week. But leaving the negative out at the door, because I know probably we could all speak from the fact that we don't want to hear we would not want to hear something negative about our child in front of another parent. That would be devastating. And somewhat embarrassing sometimes, because they're like, oh my goodness, now my kid doesn't even behave at church.
Right.
That's a devastating place to be. So the fact that you're thinking positive, kind things at the door, and like Kim said, if something happened that morning and it needs to be communicated to the parent, that's why we have staff that are on the hall all morning long. Communicate with us and let us know, because we can handle it before they get to the door, or we'll call them during the week and say, didn't have a chance to see you Sunday, but I just wanted to let you know that, Tommy had a tough morning, but we wanted to let you know, but we're so glad he was here. But leave that to the staff to handle in a private manner, so that the experience of dropping off and the experience of picking up, it's positive on both ends, because that's the thing that they remember. That's the thing that the kids are going to remember, and that's the thing that the parents are going to remember, is that it was a positive experience for their kids. And I mean, I have to think back a long time, but that was what I wanted when I was picking up my kids from church, and I know that's how we all want it to be, as a positive experience.
Yeah. Along those same lines, I've witnessed maybe an upset child is coming into the room. You've received the child. You think the parent has walked away, but they're waiting just a couple of doors down or right next to the door, and you don't know it maybe. And then you say something to your co-teacher that might not be so positive about that child, and that is not a good thing to do. So, that parent, if their child's really upset, they're probably just going to wait down the corner, around the corner, or whatever. So just make sure when you're in the room and you're receiving the child and the parents walked away, you're still saying positive things about that child, or just not saying anything at all about them, and you're just moving on with your morning. Because nobody wants to walk away and hear somebody talk negatively about their child when they're not standing there. That's the worst feeling. So
That's a great point.
And I can speak to the fact that I think it gives the volunteers reassurance, or it does for me on Sunday mornings. I know that Tish has my back, and I don't have to worry. If Johnny gets to the point where it's just uncontrollable, or he's causing problems that are affecting the rest of the classroom, I can call Tish, and either she or someone will come and take care of it right away. And they've done that for me in the past, and it's a great thing. They take the child away, they deal with it, they bring the child back. The child's a whole different story when they come back. And if I have any more issues later, do I need to call Miss Tish? Oh no, I don't need to call Miss Tish. It's like, okay. So it's great. It kind of takes the burden off of you, because you can, I can easily give it to the staff. They'll take care of this, and that's the way it should be. And y'all are really good about giving us that reassurance.
Well, thank you. We tried.
Yeah, you do it. You do it well.
Well, Hannah is our young mom on our panel today. You have young children. So talk to us a little bit from the perspective as a mom, dropping off your kids, and what we do at the door, how that makes you feel, and how that makes you feel, and what you feel like after you drop them off.
yeah, so when I was on maternity leave with my last baby, Shiloh, I brought all of the kids to church, as a normal person. A lot of the times about my husband, because he does Air Force part-time. So I had a lot of insight during that time of what it's like to be on the outside bringing your kids to church, even by yourself. So from the parking lot, like I had to park forever away, and getting all 3 of them into the building from the parking lot was just an event. So I was sweating by the time I got inside. I was done. So I can't imagine doing all that and then coming in, and then I'm a new person, let's just say, and I come to the desk, and then I got to fill out paperwork and figure out how this whole thing works. I may have even not known what building to go to. So I came in, not even knowing if this was where I was supposed to be. So I think like understanding the marathon that parents have to go through to get to the room is so important. So once they get to the desk, they're filling paperwork out. We're explaining all of these procedures to them of how sign-in goes and all of these things, diaper bags, all of those things. So when they get all of that done, we walk back to the room, and that's kind of where all the things Taylor was talking about, where, you're friendly when they walk up to the door and things, those pieces come into play. So when I would bring the girls, my girls would always get really upset the first little bit that we would come to church. And so whenever someone would be at the window and they would just say, "Oh, we're so glad that Selah's here this morning. I love the bows in your hair. I'm just so excited to play today. Come on in." They would open the door. I wouldn't have to open the door myself. They would open the door, welcome her in. They would ask, "Can I go ahead and take her?" And I would say, "Please." And so they would go ahead and take her from me so that I could shut the door and walk away. That was just really a special touch that I experienced during that whole time. And with my youngest, Shiloh, asking me, "Okay, when was the last time that she was fed? Do you have a bottle? Are you nursing? Have you seen the nursing room?" Little things like that would be things that I would look for and feel loved and like welcomed. And then with Eden, she is my spunky one. So, and I know that everyone knew she was spunky when we walked to the door. So having people just be positive with her and say, "Oh, I can't wait for snack later," because that's her favorite time. So I can't wait to eat gummies with you in a minute. Come on in, let's go see. Did you see my baby doll that I have over here? Just getting the kids pulled in and helping me with all of those things was really, really special, and it just gave me a whole new side to see when I was on maternity leave of like, oh, this is a marathon, getting them all in, and all of these people are here to help me. They love my kids. They look past anything that might be a little crazy going on with them, and they just want to love on them and teach the Word of God to them. So, yeah, that's kind of my perspective.
As you were talking, I was thinking about this. Because of that unique experience you have with maternity thing, you saw another side of things. So all of us, when we're there all morning long pretty much, and we begin to understand it's crazy at drop off, it can settle down, and then it's kind of, it's straight, yeah, and then it gets crazy again at pickup. But we know there's an ebb and flow. Our parents don't know that. Yeah. They know it's crazy at drop off and it's crazy at pickup, and they don't know that in between, most of the time, it settles down. And so going back to reassuring parents at the door, let them know that. It's like, it's a little noisy in here right now, but after all the parents are gone and it settles down, it'll quieten down. And I think we forget that because we're so used to it and we know it's going to happen, but not mom and dad.
And reassuring the parents too, if they don't calm down,
right? If
they stay upset, we have lots of tricks. We'll walk, we'll talk, we'll ride the buggy, we'll have snack. We have all these tricks, but if they don't calm down, it's okay. We'll let you know. And even asking, "Hey, do you want us to let him cry 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes?" And I can remember one parent going, "Just let them cry till they're done," because they were working through something, and she was like, "They know that you're going to call us, so just and now that child doesn't have any issues at all. It's a process. And I think it's important for us to remember the process that the child is going through, as well as the parents, and making sure that we're communicating, hey, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, want to go all morning, you know, and see what the parents say, so that they feel like they have a say in, you know, in that as well. Now, sometimes a child is perfectly fine at drop off, and 15 minutes later, it's a bad situation, and there's sympathy crying and all that. But if you have the opportunity to communicate with the parent about those kind of things, that's important too. And it gives your mind some settling in the morning. Okay, only this one's going to cry for just a few minutes, and then we'll go on to something else.
So, I think it is important that the parents know that we'll kind of do what they want. I mean, yes, it's not fun to be in there an hour and a half with the child screaming the entire time, but we're willing to do that in order for the child to get accustomed to us. And you know, if it's happening week after week after week, then obviously there must be some kind of issue. But
Right.
your volunteers, we need to make it clear it's okay. But if you want me to call you, I can.
Right.
So just communication.
Right. Exactly. And we never know, like Hannah even commented, we don't know what's happened before everybody gets to
Right.
church on Sunday morning. You know, Sunday morning can be one of the roughest mornings of the entire week on getting up and getting dressed and getting ready. And so we don't know what they've experienced or what they've had for breakfast or not had for breakfast when we get them. So you just have to keep those things in mind too, that we're not in utopia and everything has been perfect from the time they woke up that morning till the time they drop them off in our classrooms.
I think just remembering your why too.
Oh, I love
You know,
that.
like what is our purpose of serving? You know, we have a unique opportunity when we are serving in preschool to pour into the children and teach them about God's word, but we also have the unique privilege of being able to serve their parents as well, so that they can have connection with other believers and they can be in corporate worship themselves as well. And so just remembering that, you know, I'm there for a purpose. I'm serving the Lord. I am loving His children so that they can worship, so that they can learn more about Him. It kind of grounds you through the frustrating moments of childcare, you know, that we're all going to have. But, you know, it just helps you to remember what your purpose is and why you're even there in the first place, to kind of give you that sympathy or empathy and just the connection, I think, with the children and also with the parents too.
It's great.
It's very well said.
Our daughter has 3 young children, similar in age to Hannah's, with a 4th on the way. And we were talking just recently, and she knows I do a lot of childcare, and she literally was very teary-eyed. She said, "Mom, you're just serving the families, these young parents. We need a break. We you know, it's chaos at our house from Monday through Saturday, and so you're, you know, older people to step in and serve is really a blessing, I think, to serve those families. That it's a tough stage of life, and you know, I might not remember how it was 30 years ago, but I walked through those same things. But now to be able to give back is really a privilege.
We had a parent this morning get picked up that mentioned the young adults night out.
Yeah.
That she was looking forward to that,
She did.
and what a blessing it was to have somewhere to bring her, which reminded me my why.
Yeah, and Amy and I said, well, we'll see you then. And she perked up. She said, oh, well, y'all be here Saturday? And we said, we will. So she, I think, was like, oh, good, because it's her first time today. She said, was happy to know there'd be some familiar faces on Saturday. And she's like, was it good? We're like, oh, yeah, it's very well done. There's lots of children, you know. Come on. So,
Yeah, I echo that completely. I'm so grateful just for anyone who's willing to serve, no matter their age or circumstances. You know, I'm grateful for anyone who's willing. And I, even though I do have small children still, you know, in our family, that I have that interaction with day to day, I still love being able to fulfill what I believe the Lord has gifted me with, to serve His church in this capacity. But it is so wonderful to have people who, you know, are older, that might not have small children.
You can say it,
that
old people.
I'm older, and wiser and
Seasons.
That's the word.
Yes.
Season.
yes,
That's it.
gifted, yes, years of experience, just to be willing to pour into our children. But you're also so much pouring into our lives as well when you do that. You know, loving on our kids and helping us to raise them to know who the Lord is and what His Word says. You're coming alongside of us. So that partnership is just invaluable, especially in this society. So as a mom with younger kids, I definitely echo that your daughter said, that it is such a blessing to have. And I know my kids adore you guys. So yeah, they probably love you guys more than us.
Well, that's because you have
We
gummies.
have to.
That's true.
Gummies do help, but we have to give that tough love sometimes, and y'all just get to love on them. So we're grateful.
It takes a village. That saying is true. It takes a village.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think to wrap things up, I mean, 3 things I think is those of you in the classrooms, first thing, you have to think like a child. What's that child feeling, seeing, sensing when they come into your presence and into that classroom? What's that classroom saying to them at their eye level, at the noise level? So think like a child. Think like a parent. What's that parent seeing in your presence, feeling in your presence? What do they need to hear from you? And then think like a teacher, because you may not be a teacher by profession, and you may not even be the best teacher, but you are the adult and the leader in that room. And so those kids are depending on you to keep them safe, keep them fed, keep them occupied. So think like a child, think like a parent, and think like a teacher. And we just want you to know collectively how much we appreciate what you all do. And we know that there are stories out there that you could share with us and great ideas. So we do not take for granted anything that you all do. It's a real privilege to serve the littles and many times the elementary kids if it's in childcare here at First Baptist Woodstock. And don't forget, when these children are coming to us, they're little bitty bodies, but their soul does not have a size. It is an eternal soul, and you are pouring into that, and that's what makes us distinct. And so don't ever forget that. And yes, it's going to be crazy, it's going to be chaotic, it's going to be loud sometimes, and then with that, it's going to be joyful, it's going to be a privilege, and it's going to be God-honoring. So thanks for all you do. Thanks for giving us time to listen to the video, and we are here if you have questions or comments. All right, you guys have a great morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever it is. See ya. Bye.